Part 3. You will hear two students discussing a research project on queues in university cafeterias with their tutor. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Let us start with your pilot study. You observed queues in the 2 campus cafes for 3 lunchtimes. What did the pilot reveal about your method?
The main weakness was inconsistency at the start of the timing. I began when a customer joined the visible queue, but Noah sometimes began when the customer reached the marked floor line. Those points are close, but they are not identical.
Yes, the lunchtime queues were certainly long enough to measure, and I do not think people changed their behavior because we were there. The problem was that our starting point was not standardized.
Good. That matters because a small systematic difference can distort the comparison. Now, you plan to compare the East Cafe with the Library Cafe. Noah, you raised a concern.
The cafes do not sell the same range of food. The East Cafe serves made-to-order wraps and hot dishes, whereas the Library Cafe sells more pre-packed items. A longer wait might reflect a more complex order rather than poor queue management.
I agree that menu complexity is relevant, but I still think a comparison is useful. Both cafes changed their overhead menu boards this term, so we can examine whether clearer choices reduce hesitation before customers reach the till.
Perhaps. But do not assume that a visual change caused any improvement. What will you do before the main observation period?
We drafted an observer guide.
A guide is helpful, but it does not demonstrate that 2 observers apply the categories consistently.
Then, we could train the observers with recorded examples. They could watch the same short clips, mark the timing points, and discuss any disagreement before collecting live data.
Exactly. That gives you a calibration exercise.
We also looked at some early figures. At the East Cafe, queue abandonment fell from 8% to 5% during assessment week.
That sounds encouraging, but assessment week is unusual. Some students stay off campus and others buy food at different times. I would not treat that decrease as evidence that the new board worked.
I agree. Late clarification is important here. The result is real, but its interpretation is uncertain because the week itself may have altered demand. What should your primary outcome measure be?
Total time from joining the queue to receiving the order. That captures both waiting and service time.
Good. Keep satisfaction as secondary evidence, not as the main measure.
Before you hear the rest of Part 3, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Let us refine the datasheet. Olivia, what additional variable do you want to record?
I think we should code order complexity. A coffee and a packaged sandwich should not sit in the same category as a made-to-order wrap with several changes.
That makes sense. I also want to compare the staff rosters. The number of staff may be identical, but an experienced team can move a queue differently from a group that has only just started working together.
Both points are defensible. Here is my first challenge. If one observer watches the queue entrance and the till at the same time, how will you verify difficult cases?
We could rely on memory and discuss them afterwards.
That would weaken the evidence. Use a second observer for a sample of sessions. You do not need double observation every day, but enough to test reliability.
Should we record payment method as well? Contactless payments may be faster than cash.
Record it if the sheet remains manageable, but do not add variables simply because they are available. Your central question concerns the full customer journey.
I would like to keep a short customer survey. It could ask whether the menu board was easy to understand and whether the wait felt acceptable.
I was going to suggest removing the survey because subjective ratings may be noisy.
They are secondary, but they help explain why 2 customers react differently to a similar delay.
Keep a short survey, but be disciplined. Here is my second challenge. Which week should be removed from the main comparison?
Assessment week, because demand patterns are atypical.
Correct. Exclude that week from the principal analysis. You may mention it separately as an exploratory observation, but do not mix it into the main dataset.
That leaves 4 ordinary teaching weeks, with the same observation windows in both cafes.
Good. If you standardize the timing points, calibrate the observers and separate your primary outcome from the secondary survey evidence, the project will be methodologically credible.
That is the end of part 3. Now turn to part 4.